You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Like Louis XIV vomited on everything news anchor tears apart Trump based on an article by Adam Lynch. Trump is not misreading voters. He is preparing to ignore them. The problem isn't optics. The source material starts with a familiar media puzzle. Why doesn't Trump act like a politician trying to win approval from people being crushed by prices? The answer is already in the reporting. He is not behaving like someone dependent on public consent. He is behaving like someone counting on institutional power, propaganda and election sabotage to outlast public disgust. He owns the consequences. The actual power sits with Trump and the machinery he commands, tariffs that raise prices, a war he can frame and monetize politically, and a White House he has turned into a stage set of personal rule. The source knows that voters are feeling the cost of his policies and that even Republicans are cooling on the economy. That is not a messaging problem. It is a predictable result of governing as if the public is an afterthought. Trump's claim that affordability is a made-up hoax is not confusion. It is a deliberate refusal to acknowledge harm. If people are paying more and he tells them the problem does not exist, that is not incompetence. It is contempt. The gilded distraction. The gilded Oval Office matters because it is political communication, not decor. It announces a man who wants to project domination while ordinary people absorb the bill. The symbolism is crude. Bold medallions for the ruler, rising costs for everyone else. Katie Tur was right to notice the contradiction, but the deeper point is worse. The spectacle is not separate from the policy. It is the aesthetic of rule by humiliation. When a president stages wealth while denying affordability, he is not merely out of touch. He is signaling that ordinary hardship is irrelevant to the exercise of power. Pre-busting the election. The most revealing detail in the source is not the tariff politics. It is Trump already saying the election will be rigged before anyone votes. That is the tell. He is not preparing to persuade a dissatisfied electorate. He is preparing to discredit the result if persuasion fails. This is how authoritarian politics works in plain sight. You poison the material conditions, insult the public's experience, and then preemptively attack the legitimacy of the vote. If the economy hurts him, he does not adapt. He delegitimizes the process that would hold him accountable. Media still treats this like a mystery. The panel's framing circles the truth without fully landing on it. The question is not why Trump is failing to rid the room. The question is why so much coverage still treats his cruelty as a strategic blunder instead of a governing method. He is not trying to be liked by everyone. He is trying to keep enough loyal power, repeat enough lies, and fracture enough trust that public rejection cannot easily translate into political defeat. That is not an accident of style. It is the operating logic. The pattern beneath the story. The logic pattern is simple: material harm, symbolic domination, and electoral denial all reinforce one another. Trump and his allies raise costs, dismiss the paying, and prepare to claim victimhood when voters resist. That is not democratic politics gone wrong. It is a hostile project aimed at making democracy less capable of disciplining power. The response to that pattern cannot be more passive watching from the sidelines while commentators decode the optics. The task is to name the machinery clearly: policy that hurts, messaging that lies, and a leader who is already preparing to overrule the public when it stops serving him. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Arctic, thanks for listening.